Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the topic generating ideas from the Unit 2 process in design thinking. So, what is ideation stage? Ideation is the second stage of the design thinking process where the participants in this design thinking workshop will come up with ideas on how to solve a specific user problem by keeping some brainstorming. So in this ideation phase of design thinking is actually guided by the user problem and that were defined during the empathize phase itself. So ideation is about the exploration and identification of potential solutions. So initially we mix up with a lot of suggestions and a lot of alternative solutions, and we have to go with the potential solutions in ideation stage. So not all ideas will be viable solution, and that's okay if it is one particular solution. That could be the primary goal of ideation, is to spark creativity and innovation. So one of the ideation technique is scenario mapping. The other one is reverse brainstorming. So in scenario mapping, it is a simple way. We need to start with the generating ideas by starting with your user personas, which means user profiles, and doing a technique called scenario mapping. So this process is involving walking through a scenario that your customer may come across. Example, it may be the need a car repair part, and they visited your website to find it, the customer, right? So what will the customer will do? How do they gain the information they need? And what do they need to move to the next step of the process? If you analyze that, how the customer experience is going to be, that is scenario mapping. And in reverse brainstorming technique, this is a method which is helping the developer to think about the outside of the box by, instead of asking the user to think of all the ways a plan can fail. Okay, so you can criticize and identify gaps in a solution or a plan to understand how to correct the issues early before fully investing in any one of the solution. So typically we suggest this method when teams are hitting mental roadblocks, because when we are developing a solution for a problem, you may come across some kind of blocks in between. So where these roadblocks are unable to generate the kind of ideas you need to innovate for the problem, so it may just be the way to get them to look at the problem and in a new light, or see solutions they missed before. So it's a kind of refining technique by removing the unwanted blocks. That's why it's called as reverse brainstorming. So in the third technique, we are understanding the blue ocean actions framework. In this technique, the developer is focusing on helping the user, maximizing the user value by eliminating and reducing the user pain points. So as the name suggests, the blue ocean, uh, it has four different sections with the new approach of elimination, reduction, raising, and final. So in elimination section, what has been asked, what features should be eliminated, what is not useful anymore, are these features that are getting in the way of truly solving the problem. So these questions are will make some certain things to get eliminated. In reducing section, consider which features should be reduced, and are we making the solutions too complicated, or can we strip it down to something simpler, or but still relevant to the user. So this is the second section where we are coming up with some consolidated reduction. Then in the raising section, what features should be raised above industry standard and expectations? What pain points does the market and not currently address? And where do we have an opportunity to be cut above the norms? So this will create additional value to the product. That's why it's called as raise section. So in the final section, it's about creation, asking in the team, or there are factors that we have never afforded before and should be created anything additionally, or what opportunities are available to capitalize on, etc., like that. So in the fourth technique, if you look at that, it is inspired by the Walt Disney's approach to create projects, and this starts with the diagram made up of the three circles like dreamer, realist, and like what is the critic. So dreamers lets ideas float initially, so all the ideas will be brainstormed. Finally, what can be applied practically possible, that will be in the realistic circle. And by looking at the feedback and making some changes with some kind of critics and constructive feedback, then it is critic stage. So this dreamer, realistic, critic, these three circles will leads to find a better solutions. Finally, the fifth one is how now wow matrix. In how quadrant describes ideas which are innovative but yet feasible, but in now quadrant which are familiar but proven to work well, and in wow describes always the easiest one and easiest to implement one. So there is also a blank space in free space where brainstormings and other notes can be added in the matrix of how now wow. So the ultimate goal of this particular template is to come up with many wow ideas as much as possible. There are also other methods called random word brainstorming, round robin brainstorming, and an ideation. Okay, so in random word brainstorming, we'll start with the random word and we pick an idea from the generated word from a book or some other sources. So that's why it's called random approach. In a round robin brainstorming is to generate equal contribution from each member of the group by passing the ideas and by keeping a central topic or questioning a particular topic and to problem to discuss. It's a kind of circle discussion where every participants will have an opportunity to discuss the point and they have their own voice to spread out. And the AI ideation, it's a recently generative AI tools are incorporated in the form of storytelling approach to contribute for this design thinking process development. So thank you. That's all today's